there, this is Doris, and I'm going to show you a flip through of my Inktober Tangles vintage art journal, I guess you can call it. I bought this booklet last summer in Germany in a very, very nice bookstore in Buxtehude. That's near Hamburg. And I was thinking what to do with it, and when Inktober came along, I thought this is the perfect book to work in, and I wanted to make it a little bit vintage because I love antiques and vintage and brocante and that kind of stuff. So this is why I made it this way. And I try to make it look old because I really love this old worn look, and yeah, I think it turned out good. Very good, and I'm very pleased with it. And it was a good book to work, and the paper was fine to work on with everything I used on it. And yeah, so I hope you'll enjoy. I used a bit from the project, from the Zentangle project packs. I cut it out and yeah, used it on this, on the back as well, so that it would be yeah, a good closing for the book. I used a wax seal with my the letter of my first name on it, and I used how do you call this, the ink, and a blending tool to ink in all the edges and make it a little bit old. So let's start. So these are this is the first pages, and this little envelope is from an old stamp album. It's an antique one. It's from 1880 or something, so it's very old, and this little envelope was in there. And I don't know how old the envelope is, but it looked old to me, and I printed the prompts Stephanie Jennifer gave us, and yeah, put them in here for an overview. And I also made an overview from all the tangles that I used in this Inktober Tangle edition on the first page. Yeah, and the left page is always blank. I aged it a bit with the ink and a blending tool, and I always drew on the right side of the book. So yeah, and I made a little bit like a ledger because I like that look, and yeah, love how that gives a bit also a bit of an age and vintage look to this. I used old stamps. So these are some of the stamps that were in that antique stamp album, and there were different ones, different colors, and yeah, they were so beautiful. I thought, well, this is the right time to use them, and the right place to use them, because they give the book that extra vintage feel that I wanted to create. And these are the first two tangles, Rain and Delway, and I also put a little piece of paper on there, sometimes with numbers on them, to give that extra vintage feel. And I sometimes I used a little bit of color, but not always. The most tangles are in black and white, or brown and black, and yeah, I tried to tangle in a vintage way as well. So that's Don't know if I accomplished my goal here, but I think overall it's good. And I took yeah, the writing I did is from several websites. I took it from several websites, and it always has to do with the Inktober challenge. And it's from inktober.com and 2 other pages I can't remember right now. But yeah, that's where I got the text from, and I just wrote with my yeah, with a pen, with an ink pen. And I'm not good at this morning. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mulligan and Heartfully. And I always try to combine or drew the 2 tangles for those 2 days in combination or into each other, and try to combine them that way. Yeah, and I tried to use stamps that color-wise or yeah, fit the tangles of that day. Not always. Here I used blue, but this is such a beautiful old stamp, a Chinese one, I think. So beautiful. And I really enjoyed making this. The tangling, I always enjoy tangling, but this was to make it like an old book and to have a bit of a theme. I thought that yeah, I enjoyed that very much. I hope I will do this kind of stuff more often in the future. I also tried to place the stamp and the little piece of paper on different parts of the page to change it up a bit. Yeah, so this is halfway through, and I used little vintage stamps for this. Here you can see a little bit of the year. It's an older stamp, a little date stamp, I think from the 80s somewhere. Yes. And I also tried to make different layouts. Here I made it into some bands or a ribbon, a little bit torn. Yes. And when I used color, I tried to use these old green and red and orange colors. I'm not very fond of orange, but in this case, yeah, I think it fits. With this one, I went a little bit more colorful with the flowers. I thought they needed color, and so I did color them in. They are, I colored with the general pencils, the pastel pencils, so they give also a bit of a vintage look to everything. And this is Narfellow, and I hear some people struggle with it and don't know really how to use it. I love this tangle because it has such a beautiful flow, and yeah, it's a great reticulum to draw other tangles in. Yeah, I enjoy it. The tangle I struggled with first was Save You. I drew it before and I thought I really messed it up because somehow it didn't work, and I don't know what it was, but this time I got it, and I came out very good, and in combination with Avro, it's, yeah, such a beautiful thing. I really like it. The last day of Inktober, Pangaea, also a lovely reticulum to use. And I filled it with, yeah, I don't know if this exists, I just made it up while I was drawing and came up with this. I tried to use this in a grid, and then it's a very nice and fun looking fragment. So I don't know if this exists already. And this is the last page. I tried something out. So this is what I talked just before this. It's the fragment, the same I used on the 31st. This is how it looks like as a fragment in in a grid. And I thank Jake Parker for creating Inktober, Stephanie Jennifer for the prompts for Inktober Tangles, and these are the websites that I pulled the texts from. So it's Inktober, Pullingers, and mymodernmat.com. So yes, this is it. My Inktober Tangles little vintage booklet. I hope you enjoyed, and I see you soon. Bye bye.